If you're helping a parent downsize or move from their home, this video is for you. This video is mostly for people who are my generation, Gen X and elder millennials, those of us who have parents at that age that might be selling that family home or downsizing from whatever home that they're living in. We're going to talk today about the 5 things you can do to help them get ready for selling their home without pressuring them too much, without making it feel like too much of a stressful situation for you and your family, and helping them in the best way possible to guide them through this huge transition. So stay tuned till the end of this video because I have a couple ideas on ways that we can make this whole process a little bit more fun for everyone. So the first thing I'm going to talk about is what it looks like to have this conversation before anything else is done. It's really important to remember that this is their transition, their call, and they get to control how this situation goes. You are showing up as a support system for them, but you are not going to be the one that is dictating or controlling every step of the process. It's really important that you frame this as, how do you want to do this? What would be easiest for you? How can I support you in this big transition? Not telling them step by step what needs to be done. And it's really important to remember that there will be grief along the way, not only for them, but also for all the family members involved, whether it's you and your siblings who have grown up in this house, your children, their grandchildren that have had many memories through the holidays. There is a grief process that comes with selling, downsizing, moving from a family home, and that's something really important to remember, and a good reason to remember to tread lightly on all of these conversations. The biggest takeaway from this is do not rush them. You need to follow their pace and ensure that you're doing this in the way that feels best for them. The second step in the process is to start sorting now, at least once you get them on board with this upcoming change. The sorting, the processing of all the things that have been collected over the years, the memories, this is a long and daunting process. This is something that typically needs to start many months, if not years, before actually selling the home. I have built a 30-day plan, so if we are on a tight timeline, this is something that you could visit. It's a 30-day plan that helps you prepare one project a day at getting your home fully ready to go on the market in 30 days. This plan could also be so beneficial for someone who's on a 6-month, 9-month, year timeline to break these parts down and how to do this step by step so it doesn't feel so overwhelming. Something that is very helpful is to do one room at a time, just attacking one closet, one small space, and that's the only thing you're working on. Try and compartmentalize what it is that you're doing and how you're working through this process. When you take on too much, it's overwhelming for everyone. That's when the stress arises, that's when the tension begins, and so we're going to try to avoid that from happening. There are so many organizational systems that you can find online and tips, but I would say the biggest thing to do is just start with boxes that are labeled keep, donate, sell, give away, and toss. Having those piles makes it so much easier. And often once that momentum gets going and you start the process, it's so much easier. The beginning of this process can feel so overwhelming. So the more that we can start paring down and simplifying, the easier it will be for everyone involved. If there are large items or things that you feel like you need to get rid of or will not be able to go to the new location, take photographs of those things. If they're big trophies, if they're things that have just been stored away for years and years that no one's looked at, touched, or anything, but you don't want to forget about them, take pictures. And the last tip when it comes to organizing and going through this step of the process is making sure you're looking for any like hidden documents or valuables, things that may have been stashed throughout the years that no one knew existed, and you want to make sure that they go along with you in this move and don't end up left behind. One thing to note is that doing this after a parent passes away, it's so much more difficult. So having them involved in this whole entire process is going to make life easier for all of you. The third thing you're going to want to do is to get a pro's eyes on the home. Oftentimes, your parents' home might be dated. It might still look like the 80s, the way we remember it from when we were growing up. And so it's really important to bring in professionals to look at any of the things that might need repair before you put that home on the market. Having a real estate agent that you trust is also a great idea because they can come in and have fresh eyes on the whole entire home and give you a list of items that are worth actually doing before you put the home on the market. If an agent comes in with suggestions of remodeling a whole entire bathroom or the kitchen, I want to encourage you to get a second opinion, because the things that should be most important are maybe freshening up the carpet, the paint throughout the home, maybe updating some light fixtures or some fixtures on the sinks, but we're not going to do full remodels. That's going to add such a high level of stress for everyone, and no one needs to be going through a full renovation or remodeling during this process. A way that I could help you with no strings attached is to do a pre-listing walkthrough. This doesn't mean you have to hire me on as your agent, but I love to help people and educate people on how best to prepare their home for the market. So reach out to me if you'd like me to come and do a walkthrough with you and just give you some tips on what the best way you can prepare your home for the market could be. The next step in this process is lining up all your paperwork and any legal loose ends that need to be taken care of. What this might look like is gathering all the important paperwork. Is there a deed, title, documentation? Is there a trust and we need to have all the documentation for that? Anything that could be pertaining to this move, their future home, and just the process of going through a sale. When the title company's involved, they're going to have some certain documents that they're going to need to ensure that all the paperwork is right for that deed transfer. Another thing that could be a good idea to look into is maybe a power of attorney. If they want you signing documents for them in their place, say that they're maybe not using computers and using digital signing software is more of a challenge for them, having a power of attorney in place could be helpful for everyone. Another big tip is talking to your parents about setting up a revocable trust. A trust is a very important thing to have in place when you own a home, when you have any sort of assets, and especially when your parents are getting to a later stage in life. If you'd like to learn more about that, I have a video and we'll link it right down here below. The biggest takeaway is that a trust now means no probate later, and that benefits the whole entire family. Lastly, get a team in place to help you through this whole entire process. You do not have to do all of this alone. Find your trusted professionals that can help you along the way, whether it's contractors to help you do repair work, an agent that can help you with tips on how to best prepare or walk through these processes with your family members, estate sale crews, moving companies. There are so many people involved in this process and you don't have to do it alone. So start building that team early on so that you have the support you need through all of this. It's really important that you delegate what drains you. And what I mean by that is, again, building that team to help you along the way so you don't have to do every part of this process on your own. Having a good agent on your side is such a benefit as well. They're the person that can give you all the different resources you need, direct you whichever way you need to go, depending on what it is and where you need support. My bonus tip is this fun thing that I think that you could do that could make this process a little bit more manageable for everyone, emotionally anyway. Something that we did on a recent listing for this specific situation where we had a bunch of Gen Xer and elder millennial children that were processing their parents selling the home that they all grew up in, is taking old photographs that the parents had from throughout the years and recreating them, not necessarily with the kids involved, but that would be a great idea as well, showing the growing family in these newer photos, but showing the older photo from the 80s, the 90s, and then a newer version of that same photo. What a great way for you and your family to bring up some old memories, be able to talk through some things, and just have a little bit of closure when it comes time to selling this home. Don't forget to grab your 30-day guide that we have linked below. That will help you start some of the logistical parts of the process, but also make sure you check out the video on trusts and why it's so important to have one of those in place.